The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council stretched before Ambassador Chen like an ocean of stars. Each seat held a representative from one of the 47 member species. Some floated in tanks of liquid methane, others stood on mechanical legs that clicked against the metal floor. A few existed as clouds of gas held together by energy fields. Chen stood alone at the speaker's platform. Her dark suit looked plain next to the colorful robes and shimmering scales of the alien delegates. She kept her hands clasped behind her back, watching as the council president, a creature that looked like a giant crystal spider, raised 4 of its 8 arms. "Order," the president said through its translator. "We gather today to vote on Resolution 77B concerning the human species and their activities within council space." The words echoed through the chamber. Chen did not move. She had known this day would come for months, maybe years. The signs had been clear to anyone willing to see them. Delegate Korvax of the Corvani Empire stood up. His blue skin rippled with patterns that showed satisfaction. The Corvani were humanoid enough but taller and thinner, with elongated skulls that pulsed with visible veins. "Fellow delegates," Korvax began, his voice carrying across the hall, "for 30 years we have watched the humans spread across our galaxy. They breed quickly. They adapt to any environment. They develop technology at a pace that makes the rest of us look like we are standing still." Several delegates murmured agreement. Others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "They claim to come in peace," Korvax continued. "They share their medicine. They protect trade routes. But can we not see the danger? In 30 years, they have gone from one small planet to colonies in over 50 systems. Their population has tripled. Their military, which they claim is only for defense, could challenge any 3 council members combined." Ambassador Tekek of the Morvan Republic raised a tentacle. "The humans have saved millions of lives with their medical knowledge. When the Red Death struck my homeworld, human doctors came without being asked. They asked for nothing in return. And now we depend on them," Korvax shot back. "That is the trap. We become weak while they grow strong. Today they heal us. Tomorrow, they could withhold that healing. We must act before it is too late." Chen listened to every word. Her expression never changed. Inside, she felt tired. So very tired. Humanity had tried so hard to be good neighbors. They had shared their knowledge freely. They had bled and died protecting council shipping lanes from pirates. They had asked for nothing but the right to grow and explore like any other species. The debate went on for 3 hours. The Etherian Collective, beings of pure energy who lived inside mechanical shells, spoke about the human medical stations that served their outer colonies. The Jixi Commonwealth, small creatures covered in fur, reminded everyone how humans had stopped an asteroid from destroying their capital world. But fear was winning. Chen could see it in the way the undecided delegates leaned forward when Korvax spoke. Fear of being replaced, fear of becoming obsolete, fear of the young species that learned and grew too fast. Finally, the president called for the vote. Resolution 77B proposes the following restrictions on humanity. First, no new human colonies may be established without council approval. Second, all human technology must be shared with the council's science committee before implementation. Third, human voting rights in the council will be reduced from 3 votes to 1. Fourth, human military vessels may not exceed current numbers. Fifth, human trading rights will be subject to council oversight. The chamber fell silent. These restrictions would cripple humanity's growth. They would make humans second-class citizens in the galaxy they had helped build. "All in favor?" the president asked. 31 lights turned green. The Corvani Empire and its allies. The Saurian Confederacy, who feared human expansion near their borders. The Vectan Assembly, who resented human trading success. Even some species that had benefited from human help voted yes, too afraid of what humanity might become. All opposed? 16 lights turned red. The smaller species mostly. The ones who remembered when pirates ruled the outer systems before human patrols. The ones whose children lived because of human vaccines. "The resolution passes," the president announced. The chamber erupted in noise. Some delegates cheered. Others sat in shocked silence. Ambassador Tekek's skin turned a deep purple, a sign of distress among his people. All eyes turned to Chen. This was the moment when everyone expected her to explode, to threaten, to rage against the injustice. Humanity was known for its passion, its fierce protection of its own. Chen stepped forward to the microphone. The chamber grew quiet again. "The council has spoken," she said. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "Humanity acknowledges the verdict, that was all. No threats. No warnings. No pleas for reconsideration." She gave a small bow to the president, then turned and walked toward the exit. "Ambassador Chen," Korvax called out. "You have nothing more to say?" Chen paused at the door. She turned back to face the assembly. "What would you have me say, Delegate Korvax? You have made your decision based on fear rather than friendship. You have chosen suspicion over partnership. There is nothing I can say that would change minds already closed. You will comply with these restrictions?" the president asked. "Humanity always keeps its word," Chen replied. "We will follow the council's laws to the letter." Something in the way she said it made several delegates shift nervously. But Chen was already gone, the door sliding shut behind her. In the days that followed, the council waited for the human response. They expected protests in the streets of Earth. They expected angry messages from human colonies. They expected the human fleet to mass at the borders in a show of force, but nothing happened. Human ships continued their patrols. Human doctors continued their work. Human traders honored their contracts. Life went on as if nothing had changed. "They are planning something," Korvax told his allies in a private meeting. "This silence is not natural." "Perhaps they simply accept the wisdom of the council's decision," suggested Delegate Vorm of the Saurian Confederacy, though even he sounded doubtful. Ambassador Tekek met with Chen 1 week after the vote. They sat in a small cafe on Station Prime, the massive space station that housed the council. Chen sipped coffee, a human drink that had become popular across the galaxy. Tekek drank something that looked like liquid silver. "My people voted against the resolution," Tekek said. "We have not forgotten what humanity has done for us." "We know who our friends are," Chen replied. "And we will not forget. What will you do?" Chen set down her cup. "We will comply with every requirement. We will follow every rule. We will obey every restriction. But there is no but, old friend. The council wanted to limit humanity's presence in their space. We will respect that wish." Tekek's tentacles writhed, a sign of anxiety. "You are planning something." "We are planning to follow the council's laws," Chen said. "Nothing more. Nothing less." She stood to leave. Tekek reached out a tentacle to stop her. "Chen, please. The Corvani are powerful, but they are not the whole council. This decision can be reversed." Chen smiled, but it was a sad smile. "Some bridges once burned cannot be rebuilt, Tekek. The council has shown us what they think of humanity. They see us as a threat to be contained, not partners to be embraced. They have made their choice. And humanity's choice? We choose to respect the council's wishes," Chen said. "Completely." She left the cafe. Tekek sat alone, the liquid silver in his cup growing cold. Something about Chen's words filled him with dread. Not what she had said, but what she had not said. 3 weeks passed. Then a month. The council returned to business as usual. They passed new trade agreements. They argued about border disputes. They planned for the future. They did not notice the human staff members who left for vacation and never returned. They did not notice the human medical supplies that were not reordered. They did not notice the gradual reduction in human ship patrols. After all, the humans were complying with the restrictions. They were being quiet and obedient, just as the council had wanted, just as the council had demanded. 4 weeks after the council vote, Captain Zerak of the Corvani merchant vessel Pride of Empire approached Titan Station. The massive human trading post orbited Saturn's largest moon, a hub that connected 17 major trade routes. Zerak had made this run hundreds of times. He knew exactly how long it took for docking permission, where the best loading crews worked, and which human restaurants served food that would not poison his species. Today, something was different. "Titan Station? This is Pride of Empire requesting docking permission," Zerak said into his communicator. "Pride of Empire, this is Titan Station. Please proceed to Bay 47. Automated systems will guide you in." Automated systems? Zerak's neck scales shifted to show confusion. Titan Station usually had the best traffic controllers in the sector. Humans had a gift for managing the chaos of hundreds of ships arriving daily. The docking went smoothly enough. The mechanical systems worked perfectly. But when Zerak and his crew entered the station, they found it eerily quiet. The vast promenade that usually bustled with thousands of beings from dozens of species was nearly empty. A few Corvani traders wandered past. A group of gypsy merchants huddled near a closed shop, chittering nervously. "Where is everyone?" Sirac's second-in-command asked. They found a human technician working on a panel near the docking ring. He was young, maybe 25 Earth years, with dark hair and tired eyes. "Excuse me," Sirac said. "Where are all the people?" The technician looked up. "Staff rotation, sir. A lot of people taking accumulated leave time." "All at once?" The young man shrugged. "Orders from Earth. Something about resource optimization. I just fixed the machines." Sirac wanted to ask more, but the technician had already returned to his work. The captain led his crew deeper into the station. Half the shops were closed. The medical center that served 10,000 beings daily had a sign: "Limited services, emergency only." The famous Human Relief Corps office, which coordinated aid missions across the galaxy, was dark and locked. On the other side of the galaxy, Dr. Eth of the Etherian Collective floated through the hospital corridors of Kepler 442b. The colony world was home to 12 million Etherians, beings of pure energy who needed special medical care to maintain their mechanical shells. For 15 years, human doctors had run this hospital. They understood Etherian biology better than anyone except the Etherians themselves. But today, Dr. Eth could not find Dr. Sarah Park, the human who ran the exotic medicine ward. "Where is Dr. Park?" Eth asked a nurse, another Etherian whose energy form flickered with anxiety. "She left 2 weeks ago. Family emergency on Earth. And her replacement? There is no replacement. The human medical mission is under review." Eth's energy form darkened with worry. 3 patients in the exotic medicine ward needed treatments that only Dr. Park knew how to perform. The knowledge existed in databases, but knowing and doing were different things. Human doctors had spent years learning the subtle techniques needed to treat energy beings. "What about Dr. Martinez? Dr. Chen? Any of the human staff?" "All gone, sir." Recalled to Earth for reassignment. A week later, the first Etherian died. Then 3 more. The disease was not complicated, but without human expertise, the Etherian doctors made small mistakes. Small mistakes that cost lives. Meanwhile, in the Outer Rim, pirates noticed something interesting. The human patrol ships that had hunted them for 20 years were gone. Not destroyed, not hiding, just gone. Black Dog, a pirate captain whose species resembled earth sharks that had learned to walk, stood on the bridge of his raiding ship. His crew had just plundered their 3rd merchant vessel this week. No one had come to stop them. "Where are the humans?" his navigator asked. "Who cares?" Black Dog replied, rows of teeth showing in what might have been a grin. "Their absence is our fortune." But even he felt uneasy. Humans did not just disappear. They were famous for protecting shipping lanes, for hunting pirates to the edge of known space. Now the trade routes were undefended, and Black Dog could not shake the feeling that this was somehow part of a larger plan. On Station Prime, Ambassador Tekek called another meeting with Chen. This time, other ambassadors joined them. The Morvan Republic, the Jixi Commonwealth, the Althean Union, all species that had voted against the resolution. "Our trade revenues are down 30%, the Jixi ambassador squeaked. "Human merchants are not renewing contracts." "Our colonies report medical shortages," the Althean representative added, her crystalline form chiming with distress. "Human pharmaceutical companies are redirecting supplies." Chen listened politely. She had lost weight in the past month. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, but her voice remained steady. "I don't understand the concern," she said. "Humanity is following all council restrictions. We are not establishing new colonies. We are sharing our technology through proper channels. We are maintaining our military at approved levels." "But you are leaving," Tekek said. "Humans are disappearing from council space. The resolution limited our presence. We are complying by reducing that presence." "That is not what the resolution meant, and you know it," the Jixi ambassador said. Chen pulled out a tablet and read from it. Resolution 77B, Section 3, Subsection A. Human involvement in council affairs shall be subject to oversight and limitation, as deemed necessary for galactic stability. We have deemed it necessary to limit our involvement. You are twisting the words. We are following them precisely. If the council wanted us to stay, perhaps they should not have told us we were unwelcome. The Althean representative leaned forward. "What about your commitments? Your treaties? Your promises to help developing worlds?" All treaties remain in force, Chen said. However, many of them are due for renewal soon. The Council's new restrictions make it difficult for us to commit to long-term agreements. This is punishment, Tekek said quietly. You are punishing the entire galaxy for the Council's decision. Chen's expression finally changed. For just a moment, deep sadness crossed her face. No, old friend, we are not punishing anyone. We are simply accepting reality. The Council sees humanity as a threat. They want us contained, controlled, limited. We are respecting that wish. If our absence causes difficulties, perhaps the Council should have considered that before the vote. She stood to leave. The Jixi ambassador jumped up, barely reaching Chen's waist. Wait! Some of us voted against the resolution. We support humanity. Chen knelt down to look the small being in the eye. And we remember our friends. But you are part of the Council. The Council made its decision as a body. We must respond to it as a body. This will destroy economies. Species will suffer. Some might die. Then perhaps next time the Council will think more carefully before pushing away those who came to help. That same day, the quantum communication network started showing problems. The instant communication system that connected all of Council space was a joint project. But humans had designed the core algorithms. Without human technicians performing constant updates and fixes, small errors began to accumulate. Messages that should take nanoseconds took minutes, then hours. Some never arrived at all. Delegate Korvac stood in his private office trying to contact the Corvani homeworld. The quantum communicator flickered and sparked but would not connect. Get me a human technician, he ordered his aide. Sir, there are no human technicians on the station. They have all been recalled. Then contact Earth. Buy their services if necessary. Sir, Earth is not responding to Council communications. They cite technical difficulties. Korvac's scales turned deep purple with rage. He knew what the humans were doing. They were not breaking any laws. They were not violating any treaties. They were simply walking away, taking their knowledge and expertise with them. By the 6th week, the pattern was clear to everyone. Human doctors gone, human engineers gone, human traders reducing operations, human military pulled back to protect only human colonies. The Council called an emergency session. The Great Hall buzzed with angry and frightened voices. 3 systems reported disease outbreaks. Pirates had taken 2 major trading stations. The quantum network failed completely during the meeting itself, cutting off 12 delegates from their homeworlds. This is economic warfare, Korvac declared. The humans are attacking us. How? Chen asked from her platform. She was the only human in the room now. Her entire staff had been recalled. By leaving? By respecting your restrictions? You wanted less human presence. You are getting it. You know this is not what we intended. Then perhaps you should have been clearer in your intentions. Or perhaps, Chen's voice grew harder, you should not have acted from fear and jealousy. The president called for order. Ambassador Chen, surely humanity can see the chaos their withdrawal is causing. We see it clearly. We also saw the chaos our presence apparently caused according to this council. You cannot have it both ways. Either you want us here, as partners and equals, or you want us contained and controlled. You chose control. We chose to leave. You have a responsibility. We had a responsibility, Chen interrupted. We took it seriously. We bled for it. We died for it. And you told us we were a threat for fulfilling it too well. So we are stepping back. The galaxy you wanted, one with limited human involvement, is exactly what you're getting. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of those who could make eye contact. 3 months after the vote, the Etherian Collective declared a medical emergency. The disease that had killed 4 beings in the first week had spread. Without human medical expertise, it jumped from shell to shell, corrupting the energy matrices that kept Etherians alive. By the end of the 2nd month, 10,000 were dead. By the 3rd month, the number had reached 100,000. Director Zeph, the leader of the Etherian Collective, floated before the emergency council session. His energy form, usually a brilliant blue, had faded to pale gray with grief. We need human doctors, he said simply. Without them, we estimate 2 million deaths within the year. Korvac stood up. The Corvani Empire has medical experts. We can send them. With respect, Delegate, your doctors do not understand energy-based biology. Only the humans spent the time to learn. Only they developed the techniques we need. Then we will convince them to return. How? Zeph's form flickered with bitter humor. We told them they were growing too fast, learning too much, helping too efficiently. Why would they come back? The debate raged for hours. Meanwhile, 3 sectors away, the Corvani Empire faced its own crisis. Without human patrols, pirates had grown bold. They struck at shipping lanes that connected the Empire's colonies to its homeworld. Food shipments were stolen. Medical supplies never arrived. Manufacturing goods disappeared into the void. Commander Vox of the Corvani Defense Fleet stood on the bridge of his warship, reading report after report of attacks. His fleet was powerful but slow. It was designed to fight other warships, not chase small, fast pirate vessels through asteroid fields and nebulae. That had been the human specialty. Their smaller, quicker ships could pursue pirates anywhere. "Sir," his communications officer said, "3 more colonies report pirate attacks. They are requesting immediate assistance." "We cannot be everywhere at once," Vox muttered. He opened a channel to the nearest human patrol base, hoping against hope. "Human Station 7, this is Commander Vox of the Corvani Defense Fleet. We request assistance with pirate suppression." The response came after a long pause. "Commander Vox, this is Station 7. Per Council Resolution 77B, human military forces are restricted to current operational levels. We cannot expand our patrol routes without Council authorization. People are dying. Then perhaps the Council should reconsider its restrictions." Vox cut the channel in frustration. He knew the human commander at Station 7. They had worked together for years, fought pirates side by side. But now rules were rules, and the humans were following them to the letter. On the planet Nexus 3, a joint colony of 5 species, the terraforming processors began to fail. The massive machines that kept the atmosphere breathable were human design, human-built, and needed human maintenance. The colony's administrator, a Saurian named Hess, stood in the control room watching red lights spread across the status board. "How long until total failure?" she asked her chief engineer. 6 weeks, maybe less. "Without the proper parts and expertise, we cannot fix this." "Order the parts from Earth. I tried. They require Council approval for technology transfers now. The approval process takes 12 weeks minimum." Hess's scales turned white with fear. 2 million colonists lived on Nexus 3. Without the processors, they would have to evacuate. But where would they go? Every transport ship was busy trying to maintain trade routes that pirates now controlled. Back on Station Prime, Chen met with a group of human business owners who were closing their shops. The promenade that had once buzzed with life was becoming a ghost town. "Is this really necessary?" asked Marcus Webb, who had run a restaurant on the station for 15 years. "I've got friends here. This is my home. I'm not ordering anyone to leave," Chen replied. "But Earth is offering relocation assistance and new opportunities for anyone who wants them. The choice is yours." "But you're leaving, aren't you? All the diplomatic staff, the medical teams, the technical crews. If you're all going, what's left for us?" Chen put a hand on his shoulder. "Marcus, the Council made it clear they see us as a threat. They want to limit us, control us, watch us. Is that really where you want to raise your children?" Marcus looked through his restaurant window at the empty promenade. "No, I suppose not." One by one, the humans left. Not in a rush, not in anger, but steadily, like water draining from a basin. Ships that once brought human goods started arriving empty. Contracts expired without renewal. Leases were not extended. The economic impact was devastating. The Jixi Commonwealth, which had traded heavily with human colonies, saw its economy shrink by 40%. The Althean Union could not get the rare minerals that human miners had supplied. The Vecton Assembly discovered that their entire financial system relied on human-designed algorithms that were no longer being updated. In the council chambers, emergency session followed emergency session. Each day brought new crises. "The quantum network is completely dead," the president announced. "We have reverted to light-speed communications." This meant that messages between stars took years instead of seconds. Governing a galactic community became nearly impossible. Food, riots on 7 worlds, another delegate reported. Complete medical system, collapse in the Etherian collective. Pirate, attacks have increased by 3,000%. Economic, recession spreading across all council space. Through it all, Chen sat quietly in her chair. She was the last human representative on Station Prime. Her staff was gone. Her office was empty except for a single desk and chair. But she came to every meeting, listened to every crisis, and said nothing unless directly asked. Finally, Tekek could not stand it anymore. Ambassador Chen, humanity must see what is happening. Your withdrawal is destroying the galaxy. The galaxy survived without us before. It will survive without us again. But at what cost? Millions are dying. Chen stood slowly. She looked exhausted, but her voice remained steady. Delegate Tekek, with respect. Millions died while we were here too. Pirates killed traders. Diseases ravaged worlds. Wars destroyed entire systems. The difference was that humans helped reduce those numbers. We chose to help. We chose to protect. We chose to heal. And we were told that our choice to help made us dangerous. She looked around the chamber. Every crisis you face now existed before humans arrived. We did not create these problems. We simply solved them, and you feared us for it. We made a mistake, Director Zeff said, his energy form barely visible now. The council made a mistake. Yes, Chen agreed. You did? Then you will help us? Why? You have the Corvani Empire, the most powerful military in the galaxy. You have the Saurian Confederacy with their ancient wisdom. You have 47 species working together. Surely you don't need one young, dangerous race that grows too fast. Korvax stood up, his scales flashing with anger. You are enjoying this. You are watching us suffer and enjoying it. Chen turned to face him directly. For the first time in 3 months, she showed real emotion. Anger flashed in her eyes. No, Delegate Korvax. I am not enjoying this. Every human who left loved their work. The doctors who saved Etherian lives, they cry themselves to sleep knowing people are dying. The soldiers who fought pirates, they rage at being held back while innocents suffer. The traders, the engineers, the teachers, they all want to help. That is what humans do. We help. She stepped closer to Korvax. But you, in your fear and jealousy, told us our help was a threat. You specifically led this charge. You convinced others that human kindness was a trap, that human efficiency was dangerous, that human growth was a weapon aimed at your heart. So we left, we took our dangerous help away, and now you blame us for the consequences of your own fear. The chamber was silent. Even Korvax had no response. Chen returned to her seat. The motion before the council today is to request emergency humanitarian aid from Earth. I can tell you now that Earth will decline. We are respecting the council's wishes to limit our involvement. People are dying, Zeff said desperately. People were always dying. You just didn't notice when humans were quietly saving them. That night, Tekek found Chen standing in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Earth's sun was visible in the distance, a small yellow dot among millions. How does this end? Tekek asked. That depends on the council. We need you. The galaxy needs humanity. Chen smiled sadly. No, Tekek. The galaxy wants what humanity provided. There is a difference between needing us and needing our services. I don't understand. The council wanted our medicine, but not our growth. Our protection, but not our strength. Our trade, but not our competition. You wanted to pick and choose which parts of humanity to accept, but that's not how it works. We are a package deal. Our growth drives our innovation. Our strength enables our protection. Our competition improves our trade. She turned to face him. You cannot cage an eagle and then complain when it stops flying. So what do? Decide what you really want. A galaxy with humans as equals with all that entails, or a galaxy without us? Because there is no middle ground. Not anymore. Tekek's tentacles drooped with despair. He knew she was right. The council had tried to have it both ways and had lost everything in the process. 2 weeks later, the death toll from various crises had reached 10 million. The Corvani Empire had lost a quarter of its territory to lawlessness. 8 months after the vote, a Corvani intelligence officer named Vake made a discovery that changed everything. She had been tracking human movements, trying to understand the pattern of their withdrawal. What she found sent her running to Delegate Korvax's office in the middle of the night. Sir, you need to see this, she said, spreading data tablets across his desk. Korvax studied the information. His scales slowly shifted from blue to pale white as he understood what he was looking at. They planned this, he whispered. They planned everything. The data showed that humans had been preparing for a possible withdrawal for over 5 years. Every system they had built included fail-safes that required human maintenance. Every trade route they protected had been mapped with alternatives that only they knew. Every medical breakthrough they shared had critical components held back. It's worse than that, sir, Vake continued. Look at these intercepted communications from 2 years ago. The messages were between Chen and Earth's leadership. They discussed contingency plans, withdrawal protocols, and something called Operation Silent Exit. The humans had seen the growing resentment. They had predicted the Council's fear, and they had prepared for exactly this scenario. They wanted this to happen? Korvax asked. No, sir. They prepared for it to happen. There's a difference. Like someone who builds a storm shelter hoping never to use it. Korvax stood up and walked to his window. Below, Station Prime stretched out in all directions. Half its lights were dark now. The human sections had been powered down, abandoned. The greatest trading post in the galaxy was dying. Show me their current status, he ordered. Fake pulled up another display. Human colonies beyond Council space are thriving. They've established trade agreements with 12 non-Council species. Their technology has advanced by approximately 20 years in the past 8 months. Their population growth continues at standard rates. 20 years of advancement in 8 months? Without Council restrictions and bureaucracy, they're developing at their natural pace. It's actually frightening to observe. Korvax turned back to her. What about military strength? Unknown. They've developed some kind of stealth technology that hides their ships from our sensors. We only see what they want us to see. The next morning, this intelligence was presented to an emergency council session. The reaction was immediate and panicked. They set us up, the Vectan delegate cried. They made us dependent and then abandoned us. No, Tekek said firmly. They offered partnership and we responded with chains. They simply prepared for our betrayal. Director Zeph, now so faint he was barely visible, spoke with difficulty. My people are dying. 2 million so far. We need human medical knowledge. Can we not purchase it? Chen stood to respond. Earth has received your requests. The price for medical assistance is full restoration of human rights, plus compensation for the economic losses caused by the restrictions. That's extortion, Korvax shouted. No, Chen replied calmly. It's business. You wanted to treat us as service providers rather than partners. Service providers charge for their services. The Saurian delegate stood up. What about humanitarian concerns? Surely humanity's conscience demands they help dying innocents. Chen's expression hardened. Where was the Council's conscience when you voted to restrict us? Where was your humanitarian concern when you decided human children could not be born on new colonies without your permission? You cannot appeal to our morality after dismissing it as dangerous. She pulled out a tablet and read from it. Earth's position is clear. We will provide emergency services at standard commercial rates. Medical assistance, 500,000 credits per day per expert. Military protection, 1 million credits per patrol ship per week. Technical support, rates vary by complexity. All payments in advance. These prices are impossible. Someone shouted, then die, Chen said flatly. The chamber went silent at her cold tone. That is your choice. Pay for services or accept the consequences of driving us away. We will not return as partners to those who treated us as threats. Later that day, the Etherian Collective paid for medical assistance. Earth sent doctors, but not their best. Competent professionals who did exactly what they were paid to do. Nothing more. They saved lives, but they didn't teach. They didn't innovate. They didn't go above and beyond as they had before. Dr. Eth watched the human medical team work. They were efficient but cold. No jokes with the staff, no extra hours to help difficult cases, no sharing of new techniques. When their shift ended, they returned to their ship. Why are you different? Eth asked Dr. Williams, one of the human physicians. Williams paused in his work. We're contractors now, not partners. You pay for our hands, not our hearts, and we made a mistake. Yes, you did. Williams went back to work without another word. Meanwhile, investigations revealed the true scope of humanity's preparations. They had built a complete parallel infrastructure over the years. Hidden colonies and systems the Council didn't monitor. Secret trade routes through dark space. Research facilities in the void between galaxies. Admiral Sarah Reeves appeared on a broadcast from one of these hidden colonies. Behind her, a city of impossible beauty stretched to the horizon. Towers of living metal that grew toward the sky. Parks that floated in the air. Technology that looked like magic. This is New Geneva, she said. One of 17 cities we've built beyond Council space. Here, humans are free to grow, to learn, to become what we're capable of being. We invite those who value progress over fear to join us. Not as subjects, not as limits, but as equals. The message was clear. Humanity was not suffering from the separation. They were thriving. 3 small species immediately petitioned to leave the Council and join humanity's new confederation. The Council voted to deny their withdrawal, but it didn't matter. Their ships left anyway, protected by human vessels that appeared from nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. They're stealing our members. Korvax raged in yet another emergency session. We're not stealing anyone, Chen replied. We're offering an alternative. Freedom versus fear. Growth versus stagnation. Partnership versus suspicion. The choice is theirs. The Jixi Commonwealth was next to leave. Their ambassador stood before the council one last time. We were among the smallest species here, she said, her high voice carrying across the chamber. Humans never made us feel small. They protected us without making us feel weak. They traded with us without exploitation. They treated us as equals despite being able to crush us easily. That is true strength. That is what we choose. As she left, Tekek stood up. The Morvan Republic requests a vote on reversing Resolution 77B. Denied, Korvax said immediately. The Corvani Empire will not admit to error. Then the Corvani Empire will fall alone, Director Zeph said. His energy form flickered with effort. The Etherian Collective supports the reversal. One by one, delegates stood to support reversing the resolution. But it required unanimous consent, and Korvax would not yield. You would rather see the galaxy burn than admit you were wrong? Tekek asked him. I was not wrong, Korvax shouted. Humans are dangerous. Look what they've done. They held our entire civilization hostage. They held nothing, Chen said quietly. They simply left. You are experiencing life without them, which is what you voted for. If that life is harder than you expected, that is not their fault. The session ended in chaos. 5 more species announced their intention to leave the council. The Corvani Empire declared martial law in its territories, trying to hold together what was falling apart. Pirates now controlled entire sectors. Disease, starvation, and economic collapse spread like wildfire. And through it all, humanity watched from beyond council space. They did not gloat. They did not celebrate. They simply continued building their new future, one where they were free to reach their full potential. In her quarters that night, Chen received a private message from Earth. It was from the President of United Earth herself. How much longer, Sarah? Chen looked out at the dying station. Not long now. The Corvani government is facing a coup. Once Korvax falls, they'll reverse the resolution. And then we'll see if they've learned anything or if they just want their servants back. You've done well, Sarah. This was harder on you than anyone. Chen closed the channel. She was tired. Bone deep, soul deep tired. She had watched friends suffer. She had ignored pleas for help. She had acted cold when her heart was breaking. All because it was necessary. All because the galaxy needed to learn that humanity would not be caged. 2 days later, news arrived that would change everything. The Corvani homeworld had fallen into civil war. Korvax was dead, killed by his own military. The new government's first act was to support reversing Resolution 77B. The vote was unanimous. But when the council looked to Chen for humanity's response, she had only one thing to say. Earth will consider your request. Please allow 6 to 8 weeks for processing. The waiting had only just begun. 10 months after the vote, the council chambers were a shadow of their former glory. The great hall that once hosted 47 species now held 32. 15 had left to join humanity's confederation, or had collapsed entirely. The president's platform stood empty. The crystalline spider being had died when the life support systems failed in its section of the station. No one had the expertise to fix them in time. Tekek now served as interim president. His tentacles moved slowly, weakened by the stress of recent months. He looked at the message on his display for the 10th time, hoping the words might change. Earth Council responds to your request for restoration of full diplomatic relations. Decision pending. Estimated response time, 2 additional weeks. They had been waiting 6 weeks already. Every day brought new disasters. The death toll across council space had reached 50 million. Entire sectors had gone dark, returning to pre-spaceflight conditions. The Corvani Empire had shattered into 17 warring factions. The Saurian Confederacy had sealed their borders, abandoning their allies to focus on survival. Chen still came to the meetings. She was thinner now, her hair showing premature gray. She had become the most hated and most necessary person on the station. Everyone knew she was their only link to Earth, their only hope for humanity's return. But she gave them nothing except cold professionalism. Ambassador Chen, Tekek said, please, can you not expedite Earth's decision? People are dying. People were always dying. Chen replied. You only notice now because humans aren't preventing it. This is cruel. No. Cruel was telling a species that came in peace that they were a threat. Cruel was trying to cage those who only wanted to help. This is Consequence. A junior aide rushed into the chamber. President Tekek, urgent message from Earth. The main screen activated. The image that appeared made everyone freeze. It wasn't a human politician or diplomat. It was a young human girl, perhaps 10 years old, with bright eyes and a warm smile. Hello? She said. My name is Maya. I'm speaking for the Children's Council of Earth. Confusion rippled through the chamber. The Children's Council? What was this? Maya continued. We've been watching what happened. The grown-ups on both sides made mistakes. You were scared of us. We were hurt by you. Everyone got angry and stopped talking. That's what children do when they fight. But we're supposed to be better than that. She held up a drawing. It showed humans and various alien species holding hands around a planet. It was crude, childish, and somehow heartbreaking. This is what I thought the galaxy would be like, Maya said. Everyone working together. Everyone helping each other. Not because we had to, but because we wanted to. The council members watched in stunned silence. Even Chen seemed surprised by this message. My teacher says that when someone hurts you, you have two choices. Maya continued. You can hurt them back or you can be bigger than that. Earth's adults want to hurt you back. They're still angry. But we children think that's wrong. She put down the drawing and looked directly into the camera. You were mean to us because you were scared. That wasn't nice. But us leaving and letting bad things happen to you isn't nice either. My mom is a doctor. She used to help sick aliens. Now she doesn't and she cries at night. My dad was a soldier who protected trader ships. Now he doesn't and he gets angry at the news. Maya paused, then smiled again. So we, the children, voted. We want our parents to go back and help. Not because you deserve it, but because it's the right thing to do. But only if you promise to be better. Real promise, not grown-up promise, where you say one thing and do another. The transmission ended. The chamber sat in complete silence for a full minute. Then a new figure appeared on the screen. President Martinez of United Earth. She looked tired but determined. The Children's Council has no official power, she said, but they do have wisdom that we adults sometimes forget. They reminded us why humanity reached for the stars in the first place. Not for power or glory, but to make things better. She paused, seeming to gather her thoughts. Earth has decided. We will not return to the Council as it was. That relationship is dead. But we offer something new. A true partnership. Not membership, but alliance. We will help, but on new terms. Chen stood up, pulling out a thick document. The terms are as follows. First, humanity maintains complete autonomy. No council oversight of our colonies, technology, or growth. Second, we provide services based on bilateral agreements with individual species, not the council as a whole. Third, any species that wishes may apply to join humanity's confederation as equals. Fourth, a new treaty of mutual respect with clear penalties for violation. These terms make you independent of council authority, Tekek observed. Yes, you would be more powerful than the council itself. We already are, Chen said simply. We're just making it official. The Etherian representative, one of the few originals left, spoke up. What about immediate aid? My people cannot wait for negotiations. Chen's expression softened slightly. Any species that signs a bilateral agreement receives immediate emergency aid, full medical support, military protection, and technical assistance. The first year is free. After that, fair trade agreements. And if we refuse? Asked the new Corvani delegate. Then you continue as you are. No human assistance, no human trade, no human protection. You wanted to limit us. You're free to continue doing so. We'll be over here, unlimited, offering partnership to those who want it. One by one, species began agreeing to the bilateral treaties. The Etherian collective signed first, desperate to save their remaining population. The Morvan Republic followed immediately. Within an hour, 20 species had signed. The Corvani delegation hesitated. Their pride warred with their desperation. Finally, their new delegate spoke. We need time to consider. Take all the time you need, Chen said. But know that every day you wait, your people suffer unnecessarily. 3 days later, human ships appeared throughout the galaxy. Not the limited patrols of before, but entire fleets. They swept through pirate-held territories like a cleansing fire. Medical ships docked at plague-ravaged worlds. Technical teams descended on failing infrastructure. But it was different this time. The humans were professional but distant. They helped, but they didn't bond. They saved lives, but they didn't stay for dinner. The warm, eager species that had once wanted to be everyone's friend had learned to protect their hearts. Dr. Park returned to Kepler 442b. She saved 10,000 Etherian lives in her first week. But when Director Zeph tried to thank her personally, she simply nodded and returned to work. "We hurt you that badly?" Zeph asked. Park paused. "You taught us that kindness could be seen as threat, that efficiency could be feared, that growth could be punished. Those are hard lessons to unlearn. Will humanity ever forgive us? Forgiveness isn't the issue. Trust is. And trust, once broken, takes generations to rebuild." Within 6 months, the immediate crises had passed. Pirates were scattered. Plagues were contained. Infrastructure was stabilized. But the galaxy had fundamentally changed. The Council still existed, but it was a shadow of its former self. Real power now flowed through humanity's confederation, which had grown to include 25 species. The new system worked, but it was colder. More transactional. The innocent enthusiasm that humanity had brought to the stars was gone, replaced by careful professionalism. A year after the original vote, Chen stood in the same spot where she had heard the verdict. The council chambers were smaller now, restructured for the remaining members. She was preparing to leave, her diplomatic mission complete. Tekek approached her. "Will you return to Earth?" "No, I'm taking a position with the Confederation. There's a new colony that needs an administrator. Someplace where humans and our allies can build something better. I'm sorry, Sarah, for everything." She looked at him for a long moment. "I know you are, old friend. But sorry doesn't undo the damage. The galaxy had something special with humanity. We came to you with open hearts, eager to help, to learn, to grow together. You turned that into fear and suspicion. Can we not rebuild? We are rebuilding, just not the way it was before. The humans who left Earth seeking friends among the stars, they're gone. You killed them with Resolution 77B. What remains is a humanity that knows its worth and won't let anyone diminish it again." She turned to leave, then stopped. "You know what the saddest part is? We would have given you everything freely. Our technology, our protection, our innovation. All we wanted was to be accepted as equals. Instead, you made us prove our worth through absence. And now that you know our worth, you have to pay for it." As Chen's ship left Station Prime for the last time, she looked back at the once great center of galactic civilization. It still functioned, but the soul was gone. The dream of united species working together had died the day they decided humanity was a threat rather than a gift. In her cabin, Chen found a message waiting. It was from Maya, the girl whose speech had changed everything. "Dear Ambassador Chen, my teacher says you helped save the galaxy. But Mom says you also had to watch friends suffer. That must have been hard. I wanted you to know that we kids still believe in the dream. Maybe not with everyone, but with those who see us as friends. We're building something new out here, something better. Thank you for giving us that chance."